Let's talk about the lefties, because I've got to calm down, and I love those people. So look, there's a couple decent liberals left. There's not really many of them, and most of you know my story. And I generally like decent liberals, not woke progressive maniacs, but the few decent liberals that remain. I come from a family of what I would say are old school JFK liberals for the most part. These people exist, but many of them, I would say at this point, have woken up and have said, you know what, I don't agree with everything on the conservative side of things. I think abortion is one that a lot of them are really concerned about. Most of them have moderate beliefs on when you can do an abortion, say 12 weeks, something like that. That's what I lay out in my book, and I know conservatives don't agree with that, and yet I still get invited to conservative events, and they don't throw eggs at me while wearing gorilla masks. So I think most decent liberals at this point have seen what time it is and are leaving. And the progressives can have their increasingly small group of hysterical lunatics that just have a lot of power because they scream and they control the institutions. Well, then there's guys like Bill Maher. Bill Maher, who I've admired for 30 years probably, really since I was probably like 12 or something, and I started watching Politically Incorrect, and I was getting into stand-up comedy. And he's been the champion of liberalism, right? And even right now, he fights against wokeism, he fights for free speech, so he's right on a lot of these things, but he is struggling to figure out what time it is. And he sort of addressed that on the show. So let's play the video, and then I will analyze the chat.
To me, when people say to me sometimes like, boy, you know, you go after the left a lot these days. Why? I'm like, because you're embarrassing me. That's why I'm going after the left, in a way you never did before. Because you're inverting things that I'm not going to give up on being liberal. This is what these teachers are talking about, that you're taking children and making them hyper-aware of race in a way they wouldn't otherwise be. I mean, I saw last night on the football game, Alicia Keys sang "Lift Every Voice and Sing," which now I hear is called the Black National Anthem. Now, maybe we should get rid of our national anthem, but I think we should have one national anthem. I think when you go down a road where you're having two different national anthems, colleges sometimes now have, many of them have different graduation ceremonies for black and white, separate dorms. This is what I mean, segregation. You've inverted the idea. We're going back to that under a different name.
Bill, you have to understand what's going on here. First off, I just want to say thank you for repeating everything that I was saying 5 years ago, right? I've been screaming about this stuff for 5 years. Watch my Why I Left the Left video from PragerU from 5 years ago, okay? So that's nice, and I know that your guys watch my show, so I'll talk directly to the producers of the show. Everything that Bill said there is now conservative. Yes, we shouldn't have two national anthems. I don't know what he meant by we should maybe change our national anthem. No, we shouldn't. But yes, they're teaching racism in school. They're teaching this hyper-racialized thing in school. It's coming. There's no liberals to stand up for this stuff. And then he brings on people like Adam Schiff on his show, and it's obvious that he supports a guy like Adam Schiff. And we see this with all the liberals. A guy like like Joe Rogan, for example. And these are not, I'm really trying not to make these personal attacks. I'm trying to talk about this in the idea set of what these guys talk about. Joe Rogan, in an odd sense, did the right thing because he was a Bernie supporter, which made no sense, right? In my view, it makes no sense to be a Bernie supporter. You sit down with people like Jordan Peterson and all these brilliant people for years and years and years, and at the end, when it came down to it for the presidency, you were supporting Bernie Sanders. Makes no sense. But Joe Rogan, when he signed the $100 million deal, which I'm told is a lot more than $100 million with Spotify, he lived in California. And you know what he did right before he signed the deal? He left. He went to Texas. But the thing that he was telling everybody to vote for, that he's voting for, Bernie Sanders, was to raise taxes on everybody, especially people like him. So the liberals, in this sense, they're all still confused. They're looking at their watch, and a watch should be right twice a day, but they can't seem to ever get it right. They can't seem to ever get it right. So it's like, Bill Maher, take the last step here. I get it, you're in Hollywood. You've made your career on being a liberal. That is a lofty goal and a worthwhile thing. Trust me, I get it more than most people. But at this point, unless you're willing to say, I will not support any Democrats, it doesn't mean the Republicans are great, but everything you believe in is now a Republican principle. Now, if you really still think that high taxation makes sense, if you really still think that handouts make sense and affirmative action makes sense and some of that stuff, well, then we just got to keep teaching you a little bit. But I don't even think he believes in that stuff. I've seen him talk to to Ben Shapiro. He doesn't really disagree. We could send him a couple Thomas Sowell videos. I don't think he disagrees with that, but I get it. His whole brand, and again, this isn't an attack on him. His brand is, I've been the liberal, like conservatives, and this was also the dangerous. If you keep saying that everybody else, the conservatives, they're always racist and bigots and backwards, and in Bill's case, they're also believers, right? They're believers, they're religious, so they must be idiots, which is also a big problem that the liberals have, and they better freaking get over it. Well, now he's painted himself in a corner, so he can't really do anything. So anyway, to the producers that I know watch this, which is why Bill repeats everything that I say all the time, because even the stuff right there about national anthems and all that, like, yeah, I was doing it months ago. It's like, Bill's welcome here. We'll do it unedited. I'm happy to be on his show. I'm not attacking him. I don't even really want to be on the show anymore. I've been canceled a couple of times. I'm sort of like, it's not even about me. I sort of retract that. It doesn't even matter. But these last liberals, it doesn't make sense. I saw even that Sam Harris, while I was gone off the grid, that he basically tweeted out something to the effect of he's swallowing his words related to supporting Biden. It's like, yeah, we all knew this was going to happen, but you guys were so afraid of being called scary conservatives. So you'd rather vote to destroy everything that America is. But show me a Democrat willing to stand up against this stuff. So you can't support Adam Schiff. You can't tell people to vote for Bernie Sanders. You can't sit there as the world burns and your entire side has collapsed and go, you're making liberals look bad. It's like, no, liberals made liberals look bad, right? Like, come on, Bill. Come on, Bill.